Steel City. Is everybody ready to go? Let's proclaim the greatest radio show.
Welcome, fans, to another episode of The Spread. I'm your host, Jim Sella, in studio with co-host J Dash and Big Easy. We're going to bring our Steelers 2015 preview to you. We're going to go over the schedule week by week, starting with the Patriots in week 1. Will Tom Brady be there? Yes or no, Dash?
I hope not.
Well, that wasn't yes or no. Easy.
Well,
yes or no, will Tom Brady be there?
It really don't matter to me whether he's there.
How's that for an answer for you?
Neither one of you guys know how to answer.
Well, who cares? I mean, yeah, I guess who cares?
You mean, who
A lot of
cares?
people say,
The line's
well, which
going to
way
change.
do you want to have it?
I don't want Brady there. The line's going to change by
Most
almost
fans-
7 points. All those fans are stupid. I don't want to hear pride. We want to beat this guy. I want to win. The bottom line is I want to win. Whatever's going to give my team, other than cheating, a better advantage at winning, that's what I want. And Brady deserves to be suspended, so boom, give him suspension, get him out of the way. Garoppolo, you're beat.
Well, it doesn't always work out that way. You've seen Tom Brady go down for a season before,
And they missed the playoffs.
well, they went 11-5 or 10-6
Yeah.
still though. They were still a good team and a hard team to beat. Now it's going to be tough for Garoppolo with his how many starts does he have career? Do you know?
None.
None.
In
So
the
there
regular
you go.
season.
So
And
it's going to be his first start. So it's going to be really tough for him. And really
Garrett
though,
Blunt's suspended. They lost Darrell Revis and Brandon Browner, so I mean.
and Vince Wilfork.
And Vince
obviously.
Wilfork, yeah, they replaced him with Malcolm Brown, but he's not going to be Wilfork's caliber right away.
Yeah, I mean, they brought in that Jabal Sheard, too, who's a pretty good linebacker. Actually, this linebacking core, they got some of the best inside linebackers in the game, young linebackers at least, and their outside linebackers aren't bad either. The questions come with their secondary and their front three, really.
Yeah, and the quarterback position. Well, what's your prediction, Easy? Who do you see winning this game?
Well, to answer the question you asked me earlier, Tom Brady won't be there, so Pittsburgh's going to win this game.
Yeah, I think if Brady's not there, it's a pretty easy. I don't want to say easy. If Tom Brady's not there, it's a attainable victory for the Steelers in Foxborough because they do struggle every time they go up there.
I guarantee you we will have no more than 10 points at halftime, though.
Well, the questions come with the defense to me. How's the defense going to look? Is Shamarko Thomas ever going to play? Like, what's going on with him? So, yeah.
We'll find out tonight at
Garoppolo's
7:30.
going to be playing quarterback, but what's up with our defense? Now, our offense, it's pretty much the same as last season, so they should be all systems go from the beginning of the season to me, and I think they can take care of New England's defense. It's all about what our defense does against Garoppolo and New England's offense, but I'm going Pittsburgh.
Yeah, you got to go with Pittsburgh in this game, especially if Garoppolo starts. If Brady starts, it's a whole different story, and I would definitely pick New England to win this game, but I don't think he's going to be there, so Pittsburgh it is. Spread sweep. First one of the year. Moving on to week 2, the San Francisco 49ers come to town. The 49ers have been in shambles in the offseason. They lost coach Jim Harbaugh. He went to Michigan. They lost Justin Smith, Patrick Willis, and Chris Borland to retirement. They lost Frank Gore and Michael Crabtree to free agency. They released Alden Smith because he gets arrested every other day. They brought in Reggie Bush to take over for Frank Gore. I don't think that's as good.
No, I don't think that's what they were doing there.
Reggie Bush is their starter.
No, Carlos
Yes, he is.
Hyde's going to
No,
start.
dude,
man.
they just said, I read an article earlier that said Reggie Bush isn't going to play in the first preseason game because he's a seasoned vet and he's a starter, dude. I'm telling you.
I guarantee you Carlos Hyde's the starter for that team, man.
I'm just
I
telling
mean,
you
you
what I
can
read.
tell me what you read. That's fine. But Reggie Bush is more the guy. He's not going to be their every down back man.
That's
It's going
what
to be
they
Carlos
want him to
Hyde,
be.
and Reggie Bush is going to be used more in the passing game. It has to be like that. There's no way Reggie Bush is going to outdo Carlos Hyde.
They also brought in Turi Smith, Darnell Dockett, and Jerome Simpson.
Yeah,
But
I
other
was
than
never
that-
big on Torrey Smith. He's a one-trick pony to me. Sort of like Michael Crabtree was with San Francisco, at least. You're
Yeah.
hearing he's looking better this season.
That's what I hear. He looks
Who's he
good
with
in
now?
Oakland.
Oakland.
Yeah. I mean, everybody looks good in Oakland because everybody in Oakland's garbage.
But yeah, I'm not big on Torrey Smith. They got Bolden out there. He's getting older. Vernon Davis looked like garbage last season. He's going to have a
I
better
heard he's
season.
having, I don't know if I want to say a good camp, but just a better attitude. Something was wrong with him last year. So I don't think they like Kaepernick in town, honestly.
Yeah, and I'm not big on Kaepernick either. He looked terrible last season either. But I do expect better seasons from him and Vernon Davis because you can't really have worse seasons from them.
Yeah, you better believe that. And Vernon Davis is going to get more targets seeing that Crabtree left, and Torrey Smith, all he does is go downfield.
So, yep, Pittsburgh again for me. I just don't like what I see out of San Francisco this season.
Easy, you think the defense for the Steelers can hold up against Kaepernick's gun?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It's first
Kaepernick's
home game of the new season. Spread will be there live, getting live, twisted, and that's all. That's all they need for. We don't. It doesn't come down to the defense. It comes down to how many beers we can drink.
It's going to be 2 spread sweeps in a row to open up the season because I'm going Pittsburgh too.
2-0.
There's no way San Francisco travels all the way across the country with everything that's gone on in the offseason and wins this game. The Steelers are too good of a team to let that happen.
2 wins and no losses.
Well, you know what, though? I mean, the Steelers have big letdowns every season, and San Francisco's in the territory where that would be a huge letdown game. So I could see something like that happening, though.
Yeah, it's possible. It's not completely out of the realm, but I don't think Ben Roethlisberger lets that happen. Week 3, we go to St. Louis. The Rams are a little bit of a different team this year now. They traded Sam Bradford for Nick Foles. They gave Foles a 2-year extension because they really believe in this guy. Coach Jeff Fisher decided to release offensive lineman Jake Long and Scott Wells. They signed linebacker Akeem Aries and defensive tackle Nick Fairley, and they drafted Todd Gurley, although I'm still hearing they're not sure if Gurley's going to be ready for Week 1. I don't know about the Rams team to win their division because it's going to be a tough division with Seattle in it, but I think that they can win this game, especially since Pittsburgh has to go to St. Louis.
Yeah, I mean, they were a good defense last year, and they should be even better this year, in my opinion. Like you said, they brought in Nick Foles. Brian Quick is healthy right now. And, I mean, I like Stedman Bailey, too. I think he's going to have a decent season. Sort of a breakout year for him. He's not going to give you huge numbers or anything, but I think he's a pretty good receiver. You still got Kenny Britt and Tavon Austin out there. I mean, the receivers aren't great, but Nick Foles is definitely an upgrade over Sam Bradford, in my opinion. You still got your tight end that's always been around, Jared Cook. I mean, this offense looks pretty good, and like you said, they brought in Gurley, and even if he's not healthy, Trey Mason was a pretty good running back for him last season, too. So I see this as a real tough matchup for the Steelers' defense, and really one of the tougher matchups for the Steelers' offense this season. So I'm going to go with St. Louis Rams.
Easy. I feel like the biggest step for the Rams this year was to upgrade Foles from Bradford, because the problem with Bradford is he was always hurt. Even if he was a good quarterback, St. Louis never really got to see it because he was never on the field. So it was always his backup plan. Bringing in Nick Foles, he hasn't played as long as Bradford, but he stayed pretty much injury-free. He was a high percentage passer in his first year, and with those types of receivers that Dash was talking about, I think the Rams offense can get back to the type of offense it was when it was the greatest show on turf, but not the caliber offense that it was.
Mentioning Nick Foles and the greatest show on turf in the same sentence is a disservice to my boy.
Well, he put up some big
Warner.
numbers with Philly, though, man.
Foles had one of the best quarterback ratings in league history for a season in his first year. He only threw like 5 picks and 27 touchdowns.
Week 3 on turf, the greatest show on turf is going to be Ben Roethlisberger, Le'Veon Bell coming back from his 2-game suspension, and Antonio Brown. And this is where our offense, they're not going to be able to outscore us, even if our defense lets up 35 points. We're putting up 39. I mean, there's no way they're going to be able to outscore us that game. It's going to be week 3. We're going to be like just getting into the thick of things. I mean, yes, in my opinion, we've won every game since then, but this is the game where Le'Veon, he can't wait to come back.
Yeah, you make a good point there, Easy, with Le'Veon coming back.
They're not going to stop it. Rams do scare me. There's no doubt about that. Their defense is beast. And they hit hard. The Rams are formidable. There's no doubt about it, but not week 3 against Pittsburgh.
I mean, it's going to be the offense that has to win that game. And really, Jim, you and I differed from this last year. I thought the offense was more of a letdown than the defense was. I thought the defense actually outperformed their expectations, while the offense underperformed, really, because I expect this offense to score 30 points a game for you, and they didn't get that done last season. They came, 5 or 6 points per game under that offensively. And I expect them to step it up. Listen, your defense isn't going to come up huge like they did last season for you. Not necessarily just stopping teams from scoring, but just coming up with the big plays and scoring touchdowns, really. So it's going to have to be the offense this season. They need to take that step up like they said they were going to do and score 30 points a game, because the defense isn't going to do what it did last season, I don't believe.
I think the Steelers might run into a little bit of early season trouble. I don't want to say trouble. Early season missteps. They might try to feed the ball to Le'Veon too much, being that it's his first game back since the injury last season. And I think the Rams are going to win this game. I think Nick Foles can lead them on a late drive maybe down the field near the end of the game. And I think the Rams take it and the Steelers fall to 2-1.
Yeah, I could definitely see the defense blowing this game in the end.
The defense is going to make big plays and they're going to give up big plays. They're going to get burnt. There's no doubt about it. They're a young group. They're going to make mistakes. I think that they have the talent and the energy level and the drive to make up for some of those plays.
I hope you're right on that. It just scares me that I don't think they can repeat the scoring they did last season at least. And
maybe not the scoring, but they might be able to make bigger plays to put the offense in better positions to score.
Yeah, they could do something like that, but I think they really need to work on those big plays. If they could have just cut down those big plays last season, you would have thought
not even
totally...
last season. Over the last 4
definitely.
years, the Steelers have the least amount of turnovers in a 4-year span in the history of the franchise.
How many times last season did I say, you know what, this defense played a good game, but it was that one play at the end of the half versus Tennessee. Remember, right at the end of the half, Tennessee had that big 90-yard touchdown with 10 seconds left, and you're like, what just happened? Well, if they can cut down that one play, you got a good game there by your defense, and that's all it takes sometimes is just that one play to make your defense look bad.
Well, week 4, they're really going to need to get it together because the Ravens come to town for Sunday night. The Ravens have released Jacoby Jones and Chris Canty and traded the anchor of that defense since Ray Lewis left, Haloti Ngata.
The Ravens' defense wasn't that great last year to me to begin with. They were good at stopping the run, but they were very poor against the pass. And I really don't see much change in that this season, to tell you the truth. And offensively, they lost Turi Smith. I think that's an upgrade for him. They brought in Brashad Perryman, actually. I think he could at least do what Turi Smith did for you. Maybe in different ways. Maybe not just a straight downfield threat, but he could at least copy Turi Smith's stats from last season, I believe. It's not like Turi Smith killed you every game. he usually came up with 2 catches a game or whatever.
Every game,
he scores touchdowns, don't get me wrong, but he also only makes 2 plays a game.
Right. They re-signed Justin Forsett, too, and I think he did a good job in the backfield for the Ravens last year, but I don't know if he's going to duplicate that production.
Yeah, we talked about this in our fantasy segment. Go check that out, people, if you want. But listen, last season, drink them up, Digi. Justin Forsett had, 1,200, 1,300 yards, something like that? But that was the first year he was even over 1,000 yards.
Yep.
And really, can you trust a guy who's 30, 31 years old to finally become this feature back who consistently puts up 1,000-yard seasons back to back to back? I don't think so. I have a little bit of worries that Justin Forsett isn't as good as Baltimore thinks he is. And then offensively, they don't look too great. Who do they got? Steve Smith. He's said it's his last season.
Yeah,
so
easy, your boy.
He's
riding off into the sunset.
He is a beast.
He'll probably have the best season of his career.
That wouldn't surprise me. That really wouldn't.
It would surprise me, to tell you the truth.
Well,
yeah,
like you said,
why?
Dude is always
Who's he going
good.
up against? He's going up against some beat
The
Steelers cornerbacks.
Yeah, and the Browns.
Well, the Bengals got number 1 draft picks at corner, but still, I don't know.
We'll have to see what Max Williams does at tight end, too. See if he comes up and is the type of tight end everybody thought he was going into the draft.
He was just
that was a great second-round pick for him, actually.
Believe it. Flacco loves that tight end.
They brought in Matt Schaub, too. So if Flacco goes down, your boy's back, Jim.
If Flacco goes down, at least the Steelers will have some pick sixes.
I don't know. I'm telling you, man. I'm not so sure about Baltimore this year. I don't like their offense.
Their odds are better to win the Super Bowl than the Steelers are. I didn't mean to cut you off again.
I'm not going to sit here and say Baltimore is going to be a terrible team this season. But when I just look at their team, unless Brashad Perryman turns into this beast or something, I see a lot of holes on this team. And
yeah,
they might not be as good as everyone thinks.
I don't think they did anything to get better, really. They might have held pat, I guess, at best. But I think that the Steelers win this game. I don't want to say easily because there aren't too many games won by either of these teams in this rivalry that are easy. I think it's a hard-fought game, and I think Pittsburgh can win on a late field goal if Garrett Hartley doesn't start missing them like he did in his last season at New Orleans.
Yeah, Pittsburgh and Baltimore, they usually split. They're usually close games, whatnot. Did they split last year? I don't even know. But, oh yeah, I'm going to pick them to split, and I'm taking Pittsburgh at home.
What about you, Easy?
Nah, this is the first loss of the year for the Steelers. Joe Flacco kills us at Heinz Field all day. Joe Flacco's Heinz Field is like he has a snow globe of it in his bedroom. He loves Heinz Field, and he just
wish he could have played there for Pitt.
He'll beat us there.
Well, Week 5, the Steelers travel out to sunny San Diego to take on the Chargers and Phillip Rivers. The Chargers are a team that are in flux because they may be leaving San Diego. They may be going to Los Angeles after this season. There's a lot of talk that them, the Raiders, and the Rams could be one of 3 teams that could move there. Phillip Rivers has been on record as saying he will not re-sign with the team if they move to Los Angeles. But then I've also been hearing that Rivers might re-sign before the season even starts, so God knows what's really going to happen. But the Chargers didn't do a whole lot to get better. Center Nick Hardwick retired. They did re-sign tackle King Dunlap to a 4-year deal. They brought in Jacoby Jones and Brandon Flowers and Patrick Robinson.
Stevie Johnson.
Yeah, they brought in Stevie Johnson, who I'm hearing is going to revive his career. Yeah, you never had a career, Stevie.
Is that the dude who dropped the touchdown pass?
Yeah,
for Buffalo.
Yeah, he's beat.
Yeah, he's garbage. Danny Woodhead looks good again, though, after the injury he had last year. I'm hearing he's moving around. He played well last night in the preseason game. So I think the Chargers are a good team at home. They've always been kind of a good team at their stadium. And this is a hard game for Pittsburgh, traveling all the way across the country. Can Ben Roethlisberger and company keep up with Phillip Rivers? Yes. But the defense, being as young as it is, Rivers isn't a terrible quarterback as much as we hate on him. I think he'll be able to pick apart the Steelers' secondary, and this could be a letdown for Pittsburgh.
Well, yeah, listen, coming off the big win versus Baltimore, traveling across the country, this is definitely a game I see Pittsburgh losing. And I don't think you're giving San Diego's offense enough credit, man. Phillip Rivers is a good quarterback, like you said. He's inconsistent at times, but he can get the ball to his receivers. Keenan Allen had a down year last year. This is a guy I really like. His rookie season, he had a big year and somewhat of a down year last year. I think he's going to have a huge bounce back year this year. Malcolm Floyd's been a good receiver for San Diego over the past few years. He had a good year last year. Antonio Gates is still there, but the biggest thing to me, I don't even know.
Melvin Gordon.
Yes, Melvin Gordon, man. They got a good running back there, and like you said, Danny Woodhead too. So they got 2 good running backs. Brandon Oliver was pretty decent for him in spurts last season. I mean, I see a lot to like here on the offensive side if they can keep Phillip Rivers upright. Now, defensively, I mean, that might be a different question, but looking offensively, man, I kind of like the San Diego Chargers this season.
I just hate the Chargers, so I like to hate on them, and I hate Phillip Rivers, so I don't want him to win anything. But I am going to have to pick the Chargers to win this game because I think the Steelers traveling all the way out there, it's just going to be too hard. The defense is young, like I said a minute ago. I just think that it's going to be a duel between Ben Roethlisberger and Phillip Rivers, and it's going to be another game where Rivers leads them down on a late touchdown, something near the end. It could come down to one of these teams missing a field goal with the new extra point rule. It could come down to a team trying for 2 and not getting it. You never know. It's going to be a lot different, the scoring this year, if a lot of teams decide to go for 2 because of the different extra point rule. So we'll see.
What extra point rule?
It got moved back. It's like a 30-something yard
50-yard field goal now.
The extra point's no longer kicked from like the 2-yard line. It's like a 30-something yard, 38-yard field goal, I think it is now.
All right, well, kickers better pick their game up.
Yeah, but
Garrett
the Steelers
Hartley.
Kicker went down with a freaking ACL tear, so now we got Garrett Hartley.
Well,
I like Garrett Hartley.
Sweezum's own
He's
fault.
won me some fantasy matchups back when
Sweezum's
kickers
own
worked
fault.
out.
Yeah,
He's playing it on a
an
kickoff,
asshole.
dude, and his leg blew out. What'd he do?
Dude, like he needs to be running over the sidelines trying to plow a guy over in the first preseason game. Out of here, Sweezum. You deserve it.
See,
Well, who are you going to pick, Dash?
I already made my pick.
San Diego. I'm taking San Diego too.
yes.
Spread sweep against the Steelers, huh?
It's
It just makes
two
sense,
losses
man.
back to back to me. Their first 2 losses of the year come home at Baltimore and then on the road next week against San Diego. That's the first 2 losses.
Yeah, it just differs a little to me. I see the huge win and then the letdown going across country.
What about Week 6? The Arizona Cardinals roll into town. And for fans who listened to us last year, when we were doing our draft coverage, we were hated on by a certain fan because he didn't think the Arizona Cardinals needed any offensive line help because they had the 6th best offensive line in football last year. So what did they do with their first pick in the draft? They took offensive lineman DJ Humphries to build their line because you didn't know what you were talking about. Whoever you are, I don't remember your name.
Yeah, I don't remember his name either.
But the Cards, they extended Larry Fitzgerald 2 years. That was a good move. They released Ted Ginn Jr. That was a good move. They did release Darnell Dockett. I think that was more of a salary cap thing. They re-signed Alameda Tamu, the dude who blew up the South Side with his SUV that one night. They signed Lamar Woodley, garbage. They brought in guard Mike Iupati. I think that's one of the bigger things they've done in the offseason to help build up their line. Another move on the line. They had no running game last year. The Cards struggled. Carson Palmer got hurt. The team still played well. The defense was really, really good. Drew Stanton played okay in reserve, but it's all going to be on Carson Palmer's health. I think Carson Palmer's garbage. Palmer, you can hate me. I don't really care. Any fans who love Palmer, I'm sorry, but he sucks, man. He's just terrible. We watched him play in Cincinnati for a long time, and he just was bad.
Well, listen, he played well in 5 starts last season, and then he got hurt, and that's sort of what he does. He reminds me of Clay Buchholz. When he pitches well, when Buchholz pitches well, he gets hurt. When he pitches poorly, he plays a full season. And that's sort of what Palmer does in football. And, I mean, they still have Larry Fitzgerald, and really Michael Floyd had a down season last year, but this is a guy I think has huge upside too. So I think he could have a bounce-back year, but I don't even know if Carson Palmer's going to be playing in this game or not. And at running back, like you said, they struggled. Andre Ellington was hurt last season too, and he works very well out of the passing game. And they also drafted that David Johnson in the 3rd round this year, and it's looking like he could be not the feature back, but the back that runs in between the tackles. And he looks like he could be pretty decent this season for him. And with Andre Ellington playing on 3rd down and in passing downs, I kind of like that 1-2 combo in their backfield. But I'm going Pittsburgh here. Even though the Cardinals' defense is pretty good, I think the Steelers can overrun them. I mean, they were good because they didn't let up a lot of points, but they did let up a lot of yards. And I think the Steelers are going to take a step forward this year. And where they didn't score a lot of points, they're going to score more points along with that yardage. And they're going to win this game versus the Cardinals.
I wouldn't be shocked, Easy, to see the Cardinals' defense take a step back because defensive coordinator Todd Bowles left to become the head coach for the New York Jets. So it's going to be a new system in Arizona. It's got a couple different players, and I think Ben Roethlisberger and company exposed the Cards' defense for, I don't want to call it mediocre because it did hold them in the league for a while, but it's definitely not as good as it was. And if Carson Palmer makes it to week 6, he might be able to throw 1 touchdown pass, but he's garbage. He's old and his knees are beat, so it's probably going to be Drew Stanton, and I think Pittsburgh wins this game.
Yeah, Pittsburgh. Carson Palmer versus Ben Roethlisberger, Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I mean, Palmer's just terrible. Sorry, Eddie B. I know you're a Cardinals fan. But week 7, Pittsburgh, they leave their home and they go to Kansas City. This is always a tough game, whether Kansas City's a good team or not. The Chiefs always play well at home. They signed Jeremy Maclin in the offseason. They signed Tyvon Branch. They released Dwayne Bowe. They traded for offensive lineman Ben Grubbs. And they drafted cornerback Marcus Peters. They didn't do a whole lot to help out Alex Smith like I thought they would in the offseason. Smith did not throw a touchdown pass to any wide receiver on his team last year. So I don't really see their offense being that potent. I know Andy Reid runs a tight ship down there and he has a good system that works well. But I'm not a huge Alex Smith fan, and I don't think Jamal Charles can carry this team the way he used to. He's getting a little bit older.
I think Jeremy Maclin's a pretty nice addition. I like him at wide receiver, actually. He's been pretty good for a couple years now.
One good wide receiver isn't going to do a whole lot, though.
I like Travis Kelce at tight end, too. He's a pretty good tight end. One of the top, at least top 10 in football, I would have to believe. And he's still young as well. Now, Alex Smith, I'm not big on. I don't expect this offense to be explosive, but he's a good game manager, bringing in another good, well, upgrading your receiving core, definitely. Dwayne Bowe was garbage last season, definitely. So this is an upgrade, at least. And
addition by subtraction.
Jamal Charles in the backfield. And let's not forget, KC has a good defense. There's no doubt about that. So this is going to be a tough game for Pittsburgh.
Easy, you think Marcus Peters will get extended playing time early, or you think they're going to make him sit?
Marcus Peters, he's going to have some work to do.
It's tough for corners to just come in and play right away.
We might see him in that game and expose him. Big Ben will expose him.
That would be nice. Dash, I was telling Easy, I think it was yesterday, I don't know if you know, Ben targeted Antonio Brown 181 times last year. You know there wasn't 181 plays called to go to Brown. So Ben changed a lot of that at the line based on the matchup he sees. And if he sees a young guy like Marcus Peters in the wrong spot or doing the wrong things throughout a game, he definitely will expose him.
Didn't Kansas City come out and say they were going to be an elite team this season?
Yes, they think that they're going to be an elite organization. Not just an elite team, an elite organization.
Listen, I don't believe that one bit, but they were a good team. They were a good team last season, and they're definitely improved this season, in my opinion. So I think they are going to take care of Pittsburgh in this game, and I think I'm differing from you two, correct?
Yeah, you got a spread solo going on down there because me and Easy definitely got the Steelers beating the Chiefs.
That's right. Ben Roethlisberger versus, what's his dude's name?
Alex Smith.
Alex Smith, Pittsburgh.
That's it.
If it was just quarterback versus quarterback, it would go a lot differently every season.
Yeah, it wouldn't.
Tim Tebow wouldn't have beat Ben Roethlisberger in the
He
playoffs.
cheated. He asked Ike Taylor to spell and he got distracted.
They changed overtime rules, and
That's what it was.
it was Goodell's fault.
That's right. Well, let's move on to Week 8. The Bengals come to town. This is the first of 3 straight home games for the Steelers. The Bengals re-signed linebacker Ray Maliuga. They signed linebacker A.J. Hawk, defensive end Michael Johnson, and running back, wide receiver, kick returner, whatever you want to call him, Brandon Tate. And they drafted Cedric Ogbuie in the first round to bolster their offensive line. They have a good running back combo with Jeremy Hill and what's the other dude's name? Giovanni Bernard. A.J. Green is obviously a good wide receiver. Who's the guy they got on the other side of him? I always forget his name.
Starving like Marvin Jones.
Yeah, Marvin Jones. He's a Steeler killer. He's one of those guys that can just get downfield. I don't like Andy Dalton at quarterback. I think it was dumb for the Bengals to give him that deal. I think what you've seen from him last year is pretty much as good as they're going to get under Andy Dalton. And their defense is formidable. They have 2 good first-round pick corners. They usually do give the Steelers fits one of the 2 games during the season, but I don't know. I think this is going to be an easier game for Pittsburgh at home. I think the Steelers can take this. Antonio Brown will outduel A.J. Green, and I think Brown's going to have a big game, possibly 200 yards receiving.
You're right. They do give the Steelers fits, and really, I mean, this is a good team during the regular season. Now, Andy Dalton got to get over the hump in the playoffs, if anything. But during the regular season, I mean, this is a hard team to beat. Although, in Pittsburgh, I'm going to take Pittsburgh. But really, at Cincinnati, Pittsburgh takes care of business, too. So, it looks like I'm taking a sweep here.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Pittsburgh, too. Just very simple. This is first of the 3 straight home games. They get back on track, home crowd.
This is an important 3 games for Pittsburgh. They have the Bengals, the Raiders, and the Browns because after their bye week in Week 11, the schedule really, really gets hard, and Pittsburgh could easily drop 3 or 4 of those last couple games because the talent level definitely gets better.
See, I think how the Bengals are going to play their offense this season is a strength to the Steelers because the Steelers' defense was actually good at stopping the run last season, and I think the Bengals' best player, well, it might be A.J. Green, but the best way they're going to win is with the run game and Jeremy Hill and Giovanni Bernard. And Jeremy Hill is going to get most of those carries, and he looked like a very good running back last season when they finally gave him the feature role, but they're not going to be able to win that way against the Steelers, I don't believe, because I still think they'll be able to stop the run with the best of them.
I think Pittsburgh's linebackers are going to take a step up this year from last season too, so I agree, Dash. You're not going to be able to run the ball up the middle against Pittsburgh this year. It's just not going to happen. They're going to force you into passing situations. You may be able to expose them in those passing situations because the defensive backs aren't quite as good, but our front 7 is as good as it's been in the last couple years. Well, moving on to Week 9, we got the Oakland Raiders coming to town. Thank God Terrell Pryor's not their quarterback anymore because he just run it for a 90-yard touchdown.
That's not the only time they lost to the Raiders. Big Ben blew it versus the Raiders that one season, too.
Gradkowski beat us as a Raider. They brought in Coach Jack Del Rio. They re-signed safety Charles Woodson. They released that Tyron Branch. Maurice Jones-Drew retired. Darren McFadden left for Dallas. They released Antonio Smith. They brought in Trent Richardson to replace McFadden. I don't think he's really going to be the starter. They brought in wide receiver Michael Crabtree from San Francisco. I'm hearing Crabtree's having a good camp, so he could be one of the starters, and he could be playing opposite of wide receiver Amari Cooper, the Raiders' first-round pick this year.
And Andre Holmes was one of their better receivers last season. Do I like him as a number 1? No. But as a number 3, that isn't too bad. That's a good 1-2-3 combo at receiver. Derek Carr's second season, he could take a step up. He could take a step back. I'm not a big Derek Carr fan, so we'll have to see. But you're right. They did bring in Trent Richardson to replace Darren McFadden, but the problem is Darren McFadden wasn't the starter by the end of the season last year anyway. So Latavius Murray is a guy I really like, and I think this guy is a good running back. So I see things I like in this offense, not forgetting Roy Haley, who's pretty good out of the passing game as well. We'll have to see if Derek Carr uses him in the passing game like he should be used.
Derek Carr's garbage.
But Marcel Reese at fullback, that's one of the best fullbacks in football, definitely. I mean, I see a lot of stuff on this offense I like, and Oakland usually does find a way to beat Pittsburgh somehow. And let's not forget, the Steelers have to have a letdown game sometime because they do it every season. Is this the one? Well, I'm not going to pick it to be the one. I'm picking the Pittsburgh Steelers. You have to. I hate the Oakland Raiders. There's no way I'm not picking Pittsburgh to beat them. But, I mean, this is a game that somewhat scares me a little bit.
Coach Jack Del Rio could get this organization, I don't want to say whipped into shape, but he likes to run the ball and play good defense, and you can win football games doing that if you have a quarterback who doesn't turn the ball over a lot. So if Derek Carr can even move forward a little bit from last year, the Raiders have a chance to go 8-8. But I just don't think one of those wins are going to be against Pittsburgh, and I think the Steelers win this game pretty easy at home. I think Big Ben has a big day.
Crack one of that.
So who do you think has a better chance of beating us, the Rams or the Raiders?
The Rams.
Oh, please.
Yeah.
Rams? All right, well, I think neither. I'm going to go with Pittsburgh there. Spread sweep.
Sweep it.
Cluck you, Oakland.
Just like the Pirates, we have the most sweeps ever. Week 10, we got the Browns coming to Pittsburgh. The Browns signed wide receiver, that's right, wide receiver Terrell Pryor in the offseason. They also brought in wide receiver Brian Hartline. They brought in quarterback Josh McCown to play for a little bit and maybe
Don't forget Dwayne Bowe, man.
Hope that Johnny Manziel can get it going. They did bring in Dwayne Garbage Bowe.
Dwayne Ho.
I mean, this offense looks different, definitely.
Josh Gordon suspended again. They lost tight end Jordan Cameron. They did draft defensive lineman Danny Shelton and offensive lineman Cameron Irving, and Johnny Rehab is out of rehab. So
they also, let me get this out first, they also drafted a pretty decent running back in Duke Johnson, who looks like if Isaiah Crowell doesn't turn into the running back that they hope he can be, and really I don't know if he's going to be a guy that you can feature over a full season. He gave you some good games last season, but he split time with Terrence West. West had a couple good games here and there, but this Duke Johnson, he could end up being the starting running back by the end of the season for Cleveland. Who knows?
He's the Duke. Who's going to be quarterback in McCown?
All-time leading rusher from the U.
McCown, Manziel, what week is this? Week 10?
Week 10.
Who knows, man?
Does Johnny Rehab get in yet?
I seen some interviews from Johnny Manziel, and he definitely is talking different this season. I don't know if that means anything.
He didn't do the money sign when he scored a touchdown.
We'll have to see, man. I still want to see games out of Johnny Manziel before I call him garbage, but Josh McCown, I don't think he's going to be able to last 9 weeks, especially when you give him Dwayne Bowe and Brian Hartline, man. I mean, Brian Hartline's a decent receiver, but he's getting older, and Dwayne Bowe's been garbage for the past few years. I mean, what are you trying to do here? Give Josh McCown nothing to work with, and then when he doesn't work out, you give Johnny Manziel nothing to work with.
Yep, and then you blame it on both quarterbacks, release them, and start it all over again, because that's what Cleveland does. The fans don't even buy their quarterback jerseys anymore. They just scratch out the dude's name on the back and start writing it down the freaking side.
But yeah, I'm going Pittsburgh here. I have to.
Pretty easy, Pittsburgh.
Yeah, we don't lose to Cleveland.
Don't say pretty easy though, because then we're gonna sound dumb. Because something's gonna happen here where one of these teams are gonna beat them.
Not this year.
Not this year. This is the year.
This may not be the Super Bowl year, but it's not gonna. We're not.
It might not be our year, but it's not. It's definitely not Cleveland's year.
Week 11, we have our bye week, so we can take a moment of silence.
Goodbye,
Pittsburgh Pirates.
Yeah.
All right, we're back to Week 12 now. This is where it really gets hard, Easy. We have to go to Seattle in Week 12 and face the Legion of douchebags, or whatever they call themselves. Cam Chancellor's holding out. They did re-sign Russell Wilson, Marshawn Lynch, and Bobby Wagner in the offseason. They traded for Jimmy Graham. They lost Byron Maxwell. Earl Thomas has recently been activated from the PUP list, but that doesn't mean he's going to be ready for the season. Seattle put a lot of money in their stars in this offseason, and there's not a lot of money left to go around, so they're going to be relying on some young players to play important roles in this team, and I don't know if it's going to work out as well for them as they think it is. But with all that said, traveling across the country to Seattle, to that defense in that stadium is going to be a really, really hard game.
Traveling shouldn't be an issue. They're coming off a bye. But, like when you said going, where do we go? To San Francisco week 2?
They come here.
Oh, well, where do we go? San Diego.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's brutal. And the travel to Seattle would be brutal, but coming off of a bye, they should be fine. But we're going to have like 15 false start penalties. And I can just see it, false starts and delay of games, and I could see that. I could see like
pass
a 10
interference.
I could see like a 10 penalty game. And
I could see
us
Jimmy
just
Graham going
play
off.
like garbage.
Well, look, yeah, they still have Russell Wilson. They still have Marshawn Lynch. They still don't have great receivers, which they didn't have last year, but they did bring in Jimmy Graham, and that's a huge upgrade. So their offense is pretty much the same as last season outside of Jimmy Graham. And then defensively, yes, they lost Byron Maxwell, but they still have Earl Thomas, Richard Sherman, Cam Chancellor, Bobby Wagner. I mean, they still have a great defense out there. And really, the Steelers can't go 14-2. They're not going to go 14-2 with the defense they have.
No.
I know you think their defense is going to be better this season, but this isn't going to be an elite team, and they got to lose some games, and this is a perfect game for them to lose. Seattle doesn't lose at home in the first place. So
That's what I was just going to say. It doesn't matter who you are. Seattle doesn't really lose at home.
Spread
The Cardinals
sweep.
are like the only team that can beat them at home. So, yeah, it's a spread sweep. We all got Seattle winning this game. I'm not saying Pittsburgh has no chance, but it's slim to none, and I'm pretty sure Slim left town when Cam Chancellor started holding out. Moving along to Week 13, we got the Colts coming to town. Last time they came to town, Big Ben put up, 6 touchdowns and 500 yards passing? It was beast.
Yeah, and the defense came up with a pick 6, and they set the offense up a couple times in their own zone. Both the offense and defense came up big. I know Indy scored a lot of points in that game still. It's kind of hard to stop Indy from scoring. The thing I'm worried about in this game is I don't see the Steelers coming up with the big pick 6 again, most likely. I mean, they could, but the chances of it happening are slim. And then it's going to be hard to stop Andrew Luck in that offense. They brought in Andrew Johnson to go with T.Y. Hilton. So their offense, also Frank Gore, correct?
Yep.
So, I mean, their offense still looks good. And I don't expect Ben Roethlisberger to throw 6 touchdowns again, too. So this is going to be a very tough game for Pittsburgh. Now, do they have no chance? Definitely they have a chance. But I'm going to go with Indy here.
The Colts also drafted wide receiver Philip Dorsett and signed linebacker Nate Irving, so they added to the defense a little bit. They added another young set of legs to that wide receiver core to help Andrew Luck. He's a beast quarterback. He's probably top 3 in the league by now, I would say. Top 5 for sure.
I think he's going to take another step up this season, man. He might be number 1.
I think that Pittsburgh wins this game again, though. I think that they can win the game against the Colts. I see them losing an easier game later in the season. This is a big game for them. I don't think they're going to lose 2 in a row, so I don't see them losing against Seattle and then coming home and losing against the Colts.
So you have them not losing 2 games in a row all season?
I don't think.
Damn. Staying on their game.
Nah, we got the Colts last year. They're going to get us this year. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, I mean, that's sort of how I see it too, man. I mean, the Steelers came up with some big plays in that game, and I just don't see it repeating again.
Nope. Especially, and it's a home game, which is nice, but we got to, those home losses, they come about.
Week 14, we have to go to Cincinnati. We've already talked about the Bengals. I don't know. What else is there really to say? It's a Week 14 game. It's at Cincinnati, so I think the Bengals have a definite better chance. The Steelers have put up big numbers at Cincinnati before too and won big games, so I wouldn't be completely surprised. Last year, the last game of the season was between the Bengals and the Steelers for the division, and Pittsburgh won the division. So the Bengals aren't terrible, but I don't know. This is a scary game, a scary matchup at a scary time of the year.
See, I have them coming off
Pittsburgh.
I have them coming off 2 losses here, and really, the Steelers take care of business in Cincinnati usually. Now, they do split with Cincinnati sometimes, and there could definitely be a split here. But if I was going to take a split, I think I would take Cincinnati in Pittsburgh because I really like what Pittsburgh does in Cincinnati. They seem to take it as a second home.
They do. But I don't know. I think I'm going to go with the Bengals in this game. I think Andy Dalton and company get something going. I think maybe the defense but has a couple of miscues. And I could see the offense maybe having a little bit of miscues. It happens on the road to this offense sometimes. And I know they do put up big numbers in Cincinnati, but I don't know. This is the letdown game for me because it's going to be late in the year. It's going to be a game the Steelers really need. This is going to mean something when it comes down to the division, and this could be the game that they let go.
Of all the other division games, I feel that is the one, the first loss to Baltimore at home and then maybe at Cincinnati, but that's the only division games I see us losing. But I still am going to go with Pittsburgh here.
Yeah, you can't go with the Cincinnati sweep.
No.
Not on a show that's taking place where? Rilton.
Downtown.
Cricketville.
On live.
For Rilton.
What about Week 15? We got Peyton Manning's giant forehead coming to town with the Broncos. Gary Kubiak's the coach out there in Denver now. They re-signed wide receiver Demaryius Thomas. They drafted linebacker Shane Ray. They did lose tight end Julius Thomas. They're going to expect Emmanuel Sanders to play a bigger role. I don't know if he can have a much bigger role than he did last year. He had a pretty big season. This is definitely one or two or maybe three of Peyton's last years on this planet, or maybe just in the NFL.
Jeez.
I don't really know. But this is going to be a tough
John's
game.
Gonna keep him living forever, man.
Yeah. The Broncos, they're a good football team. They did let John Fox go and, sign Gary Kubiak like I just mentioned, but they're a Super Bowl contender, and there's no reason to take this game lightly. Peyton Manning can win in cold weather. He showed it up in Denver now. Can his arm hold up, Dash, to Week 15? Because we've seen him break down a little bit last year towards the end of the season.
That's a question that we'll have to see answered later this season, I guess. But I don't know, man. I kind of think Peyton Manning still has it in him, and he'll be all right if they can keep him healthy. I mean, they got to keep him upright. Any little hit, and it looks like he's going to break in half.
Does he derive his power from his forehead? Is it because his forehead absorbs so much sunlight that makes him such a good quarterback?
I don't know, man. You'd have to ask him on that. I really have no.
It's just so big.
But listen, man, they still have a good offense. I mean, Demaryius Thomas and Emmanuel Sanders on the outside. I'll take that any day. Another guy I like is, of course, Wes Welker's gone, but they have Cody Latimer, and he was supposed to step up last season, and he really didn't. But I think he's going to step up, and you're going to see this guy, and you might want to target him late in fantasy drafts, actually. I think this guy is going to have a decent season for him. And then Owen Daniels to replace Julius Thomas. I mean, it is a downgrade, but you've seen Peyton Manning, as long as he has a decent tight end, he gets it done with them. So I still really like this offense this season. Let's not forget, I think they're going to rely more on the run game this season, too. So Peyton Manning may be able to stay healthier towards later in the season just because C.J. Anderson is a beast, in my opinion, and they're going to rely more on him earlier in the season as well.
It's one of these games that I feel the week before that the Cincinnati game is going to be meaningful for the division or playoff seeding, and we're going to go there and have a big win. So they're going to be feeling good and then compete with the Broncos, but I think make mistakes and just lose the game. I don't see the Broncos beating us. I see us in the majority of these games. It's hard to say. I don't know. I'm straight up yinsed out this year because I don't see teams beating us. I see our own team making mistakes, except for that Seattle. I mean, we can go to Seattle, and Seattle handles business there. But I could see us fumbling on the goal line and just losing this game.
Ben Roethlisberger not being able to make the tackle.
Yeah. I'm going Broncos. You can go Pittsburgh. We're okay with that.
I almost took the Broncos too, man. Jim swayed me with the late in the season cold weather thing. If it does, it'll probably be a sunshiny 90-degree day, and Peyton Manning will put up
90-degree day in December. That'd be a record.
Yeah, who knows, man.
What about Week 16 at Baltimore? Is it going to be 85 and sunny?
No,
possibly. Climate change, dude.
It'll be warm
real.
from all them riot fires.
Hey, there you go. We already talked a little bit about the Ravens. Jacoby Jones gone. Chris Canty gone. Traded away Haloti Ngata. Signed Justin Forsett. The biggest thing is, again, playoffs. Are the Ravens going to be able to keep up with the Steelers and the Bengals in the division? We got, 3 out of our last 4 games are division games? 3 teams made it from this division last year to the playoffs, so it's going to be tough. And if the Steelers don't have their A game going, the Ravens could win this football game.
Yeah, I got to go with the Ravens here. I'm not going to take a sweep by Pittsburgh for any reason. Like I said, though, I don't think Baltimore's going to be as good as everyone thinks. But I see somewhat, I wouldn't say a letdown, because these are always close games, and I think the Ravens are going to come up by 2 or 3 points at home.
I'm not going to take a sweep either. They beat us here, we beat them there.
Yeah, I could see that happening as well.
We only lose 1 division game this year. The very first Baltimore game. It's my opinion.
There it is, folks. That's all you need to know. Easy, put it down. Well, what about Week 17 at Cleveland?
Scribble it down.
Could this game be the biggest trap game of the season for Pittsburgh?
Let me tell you why I say no. Pittsburgh is going to go out and dominate Cleveland in this game because the Steelers win Week 17. The last 7 seasons, they've won in Week 17, and 5 of those games were against Cleveland, 2 of those at Cleveland. So they take care of business versus Cleveland Week 17, and they're going to do it again this year.
That's all you need to know. That stat was solid.
Believe it.
I don't need any other stats.
Spread
I'm just
sweep.
going Pittsburgh right on that note. If you have stats like that for every game, this segment would have lasted 5 minutes.
Sorry, the only way they're going to win that game is if LeBron suits up.
Oh, that'd be sweet.
Johnny Manziel to LeBron beat.
That's it, all day.
Rehab to
Balding.
Yeah.
Rehab to receding.
There you go. All right, guys. All right. Well, calm down here, easy. What do we got? What's everybody got the Steelers going?
I'm going to say 10-6. I think I said 10-6 last season, too, actually. So, I don't know.
You were wrong. You were dead
wrong.
wrong.
What they finished last year? I forget.
11-5. This
wow.
guy right here. I'm going 11-5 again this year. I'm a bold prediction.
I'm actually a little worried. I'm too high. I was thinking 9-7, really.
Definitely too high. But I'm staying with 11-5.
Yeah, I think Pittsburgh's offense takes
funny.
a big enough step forward this year. I think the defense has a big year. The linebackers are going to have a big year. The turnovers are going to come back. I just think it's not our year per se, but it's going to be our year in this division.
Yeah.
Fans, if you agree or disagree, you can hit us up on Twitter. You can follow us there at bet_the_spread, or follow me on Twitter at betjimtowin. Check out the Facebook page at facebook.com/betthespread. Keep coming back to the YouTube channel and keep on subscribing.